Hi, everyone. I'm Sheryl Sandberg, COO of Facebook and founder of Lean In and Option B. This year has been challenging for everyone, but it has been especially challenging for women. Women are more likely to have lost their jobs during the pandemic or to have had their hours or pay cut. And on average, women are doing 20 more hours of housework and caregiving than men, which is not this double shift women worked before, but now a double shift. Female-run businesses have been hit harder than ones run by men. And for many women, one really tragic effect of lockdowns is that remaining at home has left them increasingly vulnerable to domestic abuse, something that was already a pandemic long before COVID. If we want things to change, we need more women in positions of leadership, more women in charge of governments, more women running companies and leading in their communities. It's not a coincidence that just 6% of the CEOs at Fortune 500 companies are women. None are Black women, and only 2 have ever been. Or that only 24% of representatives in the United States Congress are women, and just 9% of women of color. As Billie Jean King said, you have to see it to be it. That's why I'm supporting the premiere of World Woman Hour, and this series, She's My Hero, which shares the stories of 60 incredible women. Each and every one had barriers to overcome. Poverty, racism, sexism, oppression, disability, and most common of all, self-doubt. Find the story that inspires you to follow your dream, and remember, if she can do it, so can I. My hope is that this initiative inspires 1 million girls by 2030, so that in 10 years' time, we have a new generation of female leaders changing the world. Thank you and enjoy.
You don't need 6 or 7 or 50. You don't need 18, 19, or 20. You certainly don't need an army of many, a boatload, a gaggle, a gang, or a bivvy. I'm telling you now, to learn how to be strong, and I wouldn't mislead you, you only need one. No matter what shoreline, no matter which city, no need to play small so that you get pity. That won't be the way to be at your best. You must listen inside you and ignore all the rest who don't get what you want or understand what you aim for. Your ambition inside is what you must fight for. You only get one life, so you must find your calling. If not now, then when? No excuses, no stalling, and sometimes we need to see with our eyes. Take in the realness of someone whose life is a few steps ahead, who's gone through the bumps, rejection and pain, and of course a few lumps. Someone who knew that one day they'd be bigger than anyone could possibly see. And when you find them, you'll understand why. You might even feel like you could easily cry. Your hero has been there. Your hero, she gets it. She says a few lines and you can't even stand it because she's saying what you've always known in your heart. Feelings that you've had that have set you apart from the rest of the crowd. Then you see how to pave a life that will take you on your own way. But try to remember, try to keep hold of a thought that is here to help your life unfold. That when I was young and determined to be the vision that I had inside of me, I found a woman, and one woman only. As I previously mentioned, you don't need many. I looked at her life and saw what she did. In this moment, I recall so clearly in my head. I went to the mirror, looked myself in the eye, and I said to myself, if she can do it, surely so can I. And that's all I needed from that one day. I'll never forget her. I can never repay her for all that she did. How she inspired me to be, how she inspired me to see the hero that now lives inside of me. This incredible life that I now can call mine, unknowingly inspiring me to get to find. I remember the moment I started to run because I knew I'd be able to, because I found one.
This is Mission Control Houston.
I am Jessica Meir.
Please call station.
When I was 5, I knew I wanted to be an astronaut. And when I was in first grade, that's just what I drew a picture of. I suppose I'm happiest when I'm diving down deep or soaring high above the earth. In 2009, I applied to become an astronaut. And on October 18th, 2019, Christina Cook and I performed the first all-female spacewalk. I was the second person out of the hatch, which means you see both feet dangling really high above the Earth.
Still looks just as stunning as always from up here.
But during my time on Earth, here are 3 things I've learned. The power of your mind is as important as the health of your body. Ticking boxes in your life doesn't lead to happiness, and a little bit of luck always helps. So if I am your hero, it is because you want to reach for the stars, no matter how out there your dreams may seem.
Eu sou a MC Soffia. Quando eu tinha 5 anos, eu queria ser uma heroína, não uma princesa. E gravei Menina Pretinha quando eu tinha 10 anos. Mas eu sofri bullying e fui vítima de racismo. Então as minhas músicas eram o modo de eu superar isso. Como no começo da minha carreira eu não tinha em quem me inspirar, eu queria ser essa inspiração para outras meninas. Pela força das mulheres negras e pelo empoderamento de todas as garotas. E quando eu cantei na cerimônia de abertura das Olimpíadas, eu cantei para dar voz às meninas negras. E tudo que eu podia parar para pensar era: a Beyoncé está me assistindo, o mundo inteiro está me assistindo. Mas quando você encontra o seu propósito, você consegue vencer o medo. Se eu sou sua heroína, é porque você também irá ser uma voz para o mundo, para aqueles que não têm uma.
I'm Ram Harrag. I'm from Saudi Arabia. When I was 6, I knew I was different. I wanted to wear pants, not skirts. I wanted to be a warrior, not a princess. The hero of my own story. I read encyclopedias that showed me what was possible. I was initially told no by my father when I asked his blessing to climb a mountain. And those 2 letters propelled me to believe that yes, I could.
We just got to 17.
So I became the first Saudi woman to climb Everest and the 7 summits. And I felt like I was returning to a place where I belonged.
How many people get to see this?
The more I do it, the more I win people over. Especially my father. And if I ever do meet Prince Charming, then let me meet him on top of a mountain. If I'm your hero, it's because you too are not afraid to be different.
I'm Tatia McFadden, born with spina bifida and known as number 13 in a Russian orphanage. Before the age of 6, I learned to walk on my hands because no parent was there to pick me up. I was found by my heroes, my 2 moms. They became my number 1 advocates, and the switch was turned on. Age 15, I went to the Athens Paralympics. I've won 17 Paralympic medals, hold the world record in every track event, and set 5 Paralympic records in Rio. And I was the first person to win all 4 major marathons in 1 year, 3 years in a row.
In 2005, I created a law that supports students with disabilities. So now my voice is as important as my body.
So if I'm your hero, it is because you want to make the most of the unique gifts that you were given. Because everyone is given something to work with.
I am Zainab Al-Aqabi. I am from Iraq, and I was always adventurous. But when I was 7, my dad and I were fixing my bike with this, which turned out to be an explosive, and I lost my left leg. I had to learn how to deal with it, deal with others, people who want to define you and put you in a box. But it wasn't until I spoke at TED that I decided not to hide anymore, to remove the cosmetic part of my leg, my Barbie leg, be me. I then decided to jet ski, scuba dive, skydive, create dreams with deadlines, to be who I was, a fighter.
To say I have complete inner peace would be a lie, but I'm working on it.
And if I am your hero, it is because you don't want to hide who you are.
I am Swati Mandela. I am from South Africa. When I was 5, it was the middle of apartheid. And it was not popular to be a Mandela. When people think of Mandela, they think of my grandfather. But I think of Winnie, my grandmother. Winnie spent 491 days in solitary confinement. Winnie was an anti-apartheid activist. She was the movement. Winnie is my hero. And without Winnie, there would have been no Nelson. She said to me, fight for what you believe in. She showed me who I was.
But I will never finish. Honoring her the way she should be honored. Telling her story to show others all she did.
And if I'm your hero, it is because you believe in creating a better world, just like Winnie.
I am Jameela Jamil. I was anorexic when I was 12. I was 17 when I was injured in a car accident. I was abused mentally and physically. I was made to feel conscious about my appearance. I was what others wanted. But what I was is not who I am now. Now, I am unpredictable. Now, I am no longer obsessed with my appearance, because every minute I think about that is a minute wasted. Now, I do not shrink myself, concerned about how little space I take up in the world. Now, I am not afraid to be bossy or be better than a man. I am okay with failure. I think it's cool to try when you know success isn't guaranteed. Now I speak my truth, encouraging the next generation, overcoming the patriarchy. And I'm not going away. If I am your hero, it is because I am proof that your past doesn't define who you have to be.
I am Oulimata Sarr, born in Dakar, Senegal. It was not until I graduated, when I was 22, that I felt discriminations against women for the first time. My favorite speech ever? Hillary Clinton, Beijing, 1995. She said something powerful. Women's rights are human's rights. I am not interested in microfinance for women. I'm interested in macro investment. And I want women to own more of the world's wealth. I want women to have a seat at the table, be the leader at the table, design, engineer, manufacture the table. And when you do have a seat at the table, when it's time to leave, please give it to another woman. Without a doubt, the rest of the table will already be filled by men. If I'm your hero, it's because you believe in a world that gives equal opportunity to women and girls.
I'm Sonia Partalo. I lived in a war zone for 3 years and refugee camp for another 2. I came to the United States with refugee status and a backpack. I was 3 years behind in school, had secondhand clothes on my back, and spoke broken English. At 15, I made one choice, to be an optimist, always. It took 7 years for my mother, sister, and I to gain stability. I worked 3 jobs, earned 2 degrees, and today I lead strategic development and partnerships at WPP, a $16 billion company. There are 0 women in most meetings I attend, but things are changing fast. Technology is man-made, but need not be man-owned. Seize the opportunity. Keep putting one foot in front of the other, and tell yourself, I belong here. If I'm your hero, it is because I do those 3 things every single day.
I'm Lujaina Salah. When I was 8, I knew I was different. I had severe psoriasis that didn't stop till I was 15, which then caused vitiligo within weeks. I thought, how do I hide what has taken over my body? So I learned the magic of makeup. I became so good. I got my diploma and did it professionally. But I would never appear for photos. One day a friend said, show your hand, show yourself, use yourself as a marketing tool. So I did.
What I wanted to hide actually made me achieve success that I would have never imagined.
All of a sudden, people were interested in me as much as the makeup. God will give you the signs. All you have to do is follow them. If I am your hero, it's because you will make your insecurity your success.
Hi, Mira here. If you're on Twitch, you may know me as X Mira Mira, or you just recognize my voice from hearing me yell at Sims. Growing up, I was always gaming. I went from playing with dolls to creating my own virtual worlds. When I was 22, I started casually streaming on Twitch. A year later, I pursued content creation and streaming full-time. Why? Because women game. I now have over 100,000 YouTube subscribers, thousands of people who trust my gaming expertise. So in Sims, the game that I played the most, didn't have skin tones that looked like me, I knew I had to take matters into my own hands. As I created content for The Sims 4, I studied tutorials and bam, I made skin tones, 18 to be exact. I also created makeup options to go along with them. The Melanin Pack expands character options so that people like me can look like we belong in this community. Because we do. I want the world to know that girls game. Girls of all races and colors game. And we're darn good at it. Be the change you want to see. Yes, I open discussion about things, but I'm also actively taking steps to change and creating spaces that I want to see and try to also influence others to do the same.
I'm Jane Goodall. I was born loving animals. I even took earthworms into my bed just so I could study them. It was Dr. Dolittle and Tarzan who inspired me. I was told I was just a girl, so what could I do? I'll tell you. I went where wild animals were. I worked hard and got my PhD. I discovered new behaviors. I empathized with the chimpanzees. But mostly I blazed a trail. I validated all that I believed through logic and intuition. My heart is still 100% in love with what I have always loved, animals and the environment. If I am your hero, it's because you too want to act on behalf of all living things and the planet that we share.
I'm Raja Kumari. I was 7 when I learned classical Indian dance. I was 12 when I found my musical mother, Lauryn Hill. When I was 14, I wove these two things together, a bridge between East and West, just as music is the bridge between us and God. But what guides me most is my third eye. Lauryn Hill, Gwen Stefani, Missy Elliott. I thank these women who showed me the way. And now I make my own path, discovering my soul's one true purpose. I make music my healing. I'm not afraid to tell my story. The more I do that, the more the doors open. Find the things that make you happy. Work on your craft. Build yourself brick by brick so no one can tear you down and no one can take it away from you. If I am your hero, then you will discover your own truth. Make magic from who you are. The only limitation is in your own mind.
I am Angelica Hale. When I was little, I would sing everywhere. But when I was 4 years old, I got sick with pneumonia, kidney failure, and was put on life support and spent 80 days in the hospital. My dad says when I was coming out of my coma, I would move my hands and feet to the music he would play for me. Music is life. I received a kidney from my mom. She saved my life, so she's my hero. It's no wonder I chose the song Rise Up to audition for America's Got Talent in 2017. I may have been runner-up, but it was the ride of a lifetime, and it kickstarted my music career. I now have almost 1 million followers on Instagram and got over 296 million views for my performance of Girl on Fire. From all this, I've learned that if you can think it, you can do it. She's looking up to. And if I'm your hero, it's because you believe you are never too young to start following your dream.
I'm Catherine Jansen. When I was 2, I was whisked off from East Germany to West Germany just before the border shut. Around the age of 7, I got sick quite often and was always impressed with the little pills that made me feel better. So I knew I wanted to be a scientist. But in those days, girls were supposed to become housewives, not scientists. Not me. My parents believed in me and my education. Now I develop vaccines which help millions of people around the world to be protected from nasty and deadly infections. Currently, I'm developing a vaccine candidate to help prevent COVID-19. Along the way, I've learned this. Don't let anyone say you can't do it. There's always someone who will support you. If I'm your hero, it is because you believe that those who say it cannot be done should not interrupt those who are doing it.
I am Federica Marchionni. I was born in a tiny Italian village. My mother was a maid and raised me alone. So you can be unprivileged and still succeed. I've been determined to lead since I was 8. I got my strong work ethic from my mother. I took opportunities where I saw gaps. I went into the male-dominated world of telecoms. And I've been CEO where no woman has been before. I traveled for work in over 100 countries, but dreamt to be a CEO and live in New York. I have won. And I have learned a lot. So learn all that you can. Never ever compromise who you are. If I am your hero, it is because you want to imagine the dream, work for the dream, and live your dream.
I am Carol Stern. My mom was a child of the Holocaust. She taught me that life should never be taken for granted. When I was old enough to hold a sign, she would take us to peace rallies and protests to stand up for others. I had no idea what I wanted to do, but eventually a professor set me on my path. I started getting A's. I got my education in education, and at 28 became the first female dean at a college. I created a national anti-bias program and got asked to speak at conferences. I broke glass ceilings I didn't even know existed. I then spent 14 years working to save the lives of millions of children in war zones and extreme poverty, always remembering what my mother taught me. I worked hard for opportunities, and I always tried to make a difference. If I am your hero, it's because you too will seek to make a difference wherever you go.
Jina langu ni Ruth Keita. Nimekuwa kanda ya wanyamapori, niko mmoja kati ya wanawake 8 wa Team Lioness. Ninaishi Walasiri katika jamii ya Wamasai hapa Kenya. Wanaume ndio wako na nguvu, wanawake hawatoshani na wanaume. Nilikuwa nafaa kuolewa nikiwa na miaka 12, lakini wazazi wangu walihakikisha kwamba nimeenda shule. Siruhusiwi kuwa na maoni nyumbani, lakini niko na ushawishi kazini. Kazi ndio njia inayosaidia mwanamke wote kusikika. Kila siku niko porini kupiga doria, kuchunga wanyama kwa uwindaji haramu, kuchunga asili yetu kwa wanaume. Nahitaji wanawake kusaidia wanaume kufanya kitendo cha haki. Nataka kuhimiza dada zangu, kuhimiza msichana wangu kwamba wanaweza fanya kazi yoyote mwanaume anaweza fanya.
Kama mimi ni shujaa wako ni kwa sababu naamini wanawake wanaweza fanya kila kitu.
I am Olivia Tyson. When I was in first grade, I remember the open kitchen we had for the community at Thanksgiving. At 18 years old, I was invited into the boardroom to join the family company, the family legacy, but I felt out of place. I preferred hearing about people to numbers, how they live, what they need, why. So I went searching for another door to open. By going elsewhere, I realized where I should be, back in Arkansas, embracing the community that built me, building a community to embrace others, supporting the arts in our city centers, creating spaces to learn, to make, to encourage, using values that were established 100 years ago, but making them relevant to people now, opening doors for everyone by teaching people how to build them. And if I'm your hero, it is because you believe you can find happiness and meaning exactly where you are.
I am Kechi Okuchi, one of 2 survivors from Flight 1145 in 2005.
5 weeks passed before I woke up from my coma. I saw my mom, who was my hero. When I was in the coma, I could hear everything. My family talking, my mom singing. So when I came to, I knew what had happened. 7 months of ICU in South Africa, but realizing I had one life.
To just explore her true passion.
My life needed to make up for 107 others that were lost, to live as they would want to live, and live for the parents who lost their children that day.
You've had more than your share of heartache.
I am not my scars. I am not my trauma. I am 100% myself. Do not let anyone change who you are or make you feel bad for how you look, because if I am your hero, then you must do one thing: be exactly who you are.
I am Vittore Colonna. I am from County Wicklow, Ireland. I call the earth my home, yet I feel like I'm from another planet. I am inspired by what and whom I don't know. I want to jump into other worlds to understand them. I document them in film. I offer a platform for the outsiders, the misfits and dreamers. I give the voiceless a song. I find love, hope, bravery, and beauty in our human journeys. In my work, the truth becomes more interesting than fiction. I am an artist, a performer, a storyteller, and award-winning film director. If you want to succeed, surround yourself with good, honest people. Don't get distracted by the noise. Let yourself shine. Know that you are enough. If I'm your hero, let it be because you won't waste your time fitting in.
I'm Andrea Mallard. I work at the World's Inspiration Company. And inspiration at its heart is about creating the urge to act. So if someone asks you who or what inspires you, don't simply think of the people who may impress you. That can be important, but it's rarely enough. Inspiration is about people who make you want to do something, or try something, or be something just a little bit different than you are today. When I see people coming to Pinterest to build on ideas, it not only makes me feel proud, it makes me feel hope. And so my message to you is to consciously work to open your aperture. It's to invite a lot of new ideas and perspectives to the table, whether that's in your real life or in your digital feed. I've actively surrounded myself with inspiring women. They've given me ideas on how to raise my children, how to build a home, ideas for how to take care of my physical or emotional health, ideas for how to navigate a career, or how to stay centered when the world feels in chaos. Ideas for new things to try that I would have never thought I could do, like beekeeping, or going vegan, or becoming a minimalist, or moving to foreign countries and learning new languages and new cultures. In real life, as on Pinterest, you will be surprised by where the most inspiring ideas can come from, especially when you open yourself up to people who do not look like you, who did not grow up like you, or may not think like you. The world needs your passion, your perspective, and your ideas. Invest in yourself, not your selfie.
I am Cynthia Riva. My mum knew I was destined for the stage. She would drive me to school and always play the radio in the car. And at 6, I fell in love with music. Something about music cracks a person open and you can be your most vulnerable self because you can sing what you cannot always say. At that age, it's not about the audience. It's about what it feels like and if it makes others happy. It's still that way. It doesn't matter what the content is, but the connection is everything. Whether I'm playing Harriet Tubman or singing The Impossible Dream, I didn't want anyone to say I couldn't sing and act. Our culture works against Renaissance people, but I am a Renaissance person, and it is possible to do more than one thing. If I am your hero, it is because you will not be fearful admitting what you want in life and pursuing it till you live your impossible dream.
I am Dr. Anita Sanchez of Aztec and Mexican American ancestry.
At age 3, I had a recurring dream of the earth, and around it, people with their hands on each other's heart. I also suffered a secret life of abuse that started when I was 4. By age 9, I thought I would never be free. At age 13, my abuser, my father, was murdered by a white man who mistook him for a black man. All this pain led me to believe that I had no future, and I attempted to end my life. My indigenous wisdom kept me alive. I became the leader of my own life. Now I teach the gifts to
Being
others.
a whole human being is to live in harmony and connection.
It's time for women and all those who have not had a voice to speak. It's time to use our innate wisdom now.
If I am your hero, it is because you believe we are all related, one earth and one people, many hearts joined together.
I am Maggie Rollins. My grandmother was a nurse, my dad was a photographer, so when I was 6, I loved cameras and big white shoes. I learned how to bottle feed a squirrel when I was 7, I met the love of my life when I was 8, and I believe everyone has a calling. And with One World Health in Uganda, I knew that being a nurse was mine. My first time abroad, 7,440 miles from home. I accidentally became a model at 18. You can't be a model and a nurse, said society. Why not, said I. I believe in and, not or, living, not fearing, changing your mind. In 2020, I left my home in Charleston, went to a hospital in New York City 3 weeks after COVID-19 broke, 4 years after becoming a model. I have only 2 hands, but lots of heart. If I'm your hero, then follow your calling, or 2, or 10. Because contrary to what women are told, you can do it all.
I am Amy Purdy. We lived in Las Vegas, but my Aunt Debbie traveled all over the world. From the age of 6, I listened to her stories, and I knew I wanted to do the same. But at the age of 19, I contracted bacterial meningitis and lost both my legs. So alongside love and support from my family, I worked hard to find my purpose. I started snowboarding again. I co-founded Adaptive Action Sports. I did a TED Talk. I became a 3-time Paralympic medalist, a motivational speaker, one of Oprah's Super Soul 100, runner-up on Dancing with the Stars, and recently wrote a New York Times bestseller on my own 2 feet. Had I have not lost my legs, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So through my greatest challenges came my greatest accomplishments. And if I am your hero, it is because, like me, you are always on a mission to find a way.
I am Aisha Yanduro, Dr. Lula Claire Dorsey, my granny, our matriarch, and a woman who set the blueprint for changing the narrative of single Black moms is my hero. I was 18 when I found my voice, built on all my ancestors before me, justified by my degrees, but born from inside. I carry the torch handed on by my granny to change the one narrative society has about single Black mothers. I do it for Kim, so she has $10 to get her kids pizza, and for Arlene, who used $1,200 to go back to school.
When we provide a guaranteed income for the most oppressed in our society, we give them the second chance that they deserve.
My pledge is to get 10,000 families guaranteed income by 2030. One by one, we can make that happen. If I am your hero, help me do just that. My granny would be proud of all of us.
I am Ogi Buno, first-generation American Nigerian. From birth, I learned how to be a survivor. I had my first job at 14, and when I was 15, I started to comprehend the abuse my mom had been through. I quit a job when I was 26 because I was not aligned with the company's values, so I set about finding my own. I rearranged myself for restorative yoga, and for the first time in my life, discovered joy. Then a client, Jet Doherty, gave me a chance to produce films. A few years later, I directed Invisible Portraits to change the narrative of Black women.
Magic. Maybe that's the Black girl magic.
And to recognize all the contributions Black women have made and continue to make.
I carry the weight of my ancestors, the truth of their stories. I am a storyteller through various mediums.
And if I am your hero, it is because you desire liberation, personally and collectively.
I am Rana Ziada.
When I was 5, I thought, how can I be like my father? He was born a teacher. He helped me love to learn. He was my hero. I was also born a teacher, and now I teach in the Gaza Strip. We have learned to judge how far explosions are from the school. We sometimes have no internet, often no electricity. But if we have paper and we have pencils, we can still learn. Recently, we hand-delivered hundreds of workbooks to students at home. But as students get older, there are fewer girls. We must encourage girls to continue with their education. And if I am your hero, it is because you believe no one should be left out of learning, no matter where you live.
I am Vicki Saunders. I was here on a mission the moment I was born. Growing up, there was no paved road for what I wanted to do, so I made my own. In my early 20s, I was in Prague when the wall came down, and I saw firsthand what a sense of freedom ignited. I came back to Canada full of ambition, with no desire to climb the corporate ladder. I built Kids Energy, a company full of youth innovators who didn't know that things were impossible, so they did them. But SheEO is my dream for the future. A place where women's intuition is valued, where we help women step into fear and create change every day. Why? Because 2.2% of funding goes to 51% of the population, and that's not okay. We need to fund women's ideas, dreams, and innovations and create a world that works for the benefit of all. If I'm your hero, it's because you believe that we have everything we need to change it.
I am Anu Jain, an entrepreneur and philanthropist. I was born in Delhi and raised in Jerusalem and the Middle East. I experienced many cultures before the age of 10. There were many times as a young girl that I realized how feeling unsafe held us back. My parents also believed in the power of always helping others. But it was my daughter Priyanka who helped me realize my life's goal, that I am here to help girls. Help girls believe in and love themselves. One piece of advice that I have for girls today is to take risks and be fearless, to not be afraid and to speak up. Use innovation to find solutions. So if I am your hero, it is because you want women to be fearless every single hour.
I'm Nadia Jagba. I'm from Australia. My father raised me to believe I could do anything if I had a good enough plan. Having no mother, I really didn't know how to take care of my body, so I taught myself. I believe everyone has a tribe. I was 31 when I found mine in Kuwait. The culture of health and fitness I knew in Australia didn't exist in Kuwait yet. I started my own gym, launched on YouTube and Instagram, and helped women build positive habits whilst honouring their culture. In 2015, I overcame my fear of tech and created the Gymnads app, a safe, women-only space for women's health and fitness. There was fear and criticism, but 1 million downloads later, all over the Middle East, women were saying, if she can do it, I can do it. What started small became a cascade of positivity and inclusivity. I am your hero if you are not afraid to build your own tribe.
I'm just a girl, you may think I'm at a disadvantage. Going out into the world, but I think I'm gonna take my chances. Cause no one ever change a thing by being too afraid of a dream. So if I'm ever feeling down, I know that it's part of the journey. I look up to the stars in the sky. I look up and I feel so inspired to push every limit like all of the women before me. I look up in the face of my fears, won't give up till they know I was here, won't stand in she's looking up to. And she's looking up to. Use the magic of your voice and tell them what you stand for. 'Cause we don't change the world when we whisper, we change it when we roar. If you take the time to see that all you've gotta do is believe. There are highs and there are lows, but the power's in finding the beauty. Oh yeah, I look up to the stars in the sky. I look up and I feel so inspired to push every limit like all of the women before me. Oh, I look up in the face of my fears, won't give up till they know I was here. Won't stand in the shadows, 'cause she fought the battles before me. And she's looking up, I am her and she is me. The ladder keeps on growing. Oh, then one day you become the hero that keeps it going. I look up to the stars in the sky. I look up and I feel so inspired to push every limit like all of the women before me. Oh, I look up in the face of my fears, won't give up till they know I was here. Won't stand in the shadows, 'cause she fought the battles before me. She's looking up too.
I am Christina Jones. I was born in the United States. We moved to Italy. My mother's Jamaican, my father's Italian. That led to me developing a deep love of books. With my parents moving so much around, I didn't have a chance to make deep connections, so I found escape in story world. I'm a storyteller, so I've always had a passion for creating a platform for people to discover and share their stories. My job at Salesforce is to humanize the conversation around technology. I knew that it was more important than ever to ensure that there's representation of not just women, but people of color in the technology landscape. The best thing you can do right now is do something. Doing nothing and waiting for someone else to do it is not going to solve any problems. We launched a program called Leading Through Change, where again, we're highlighting leaders who are driving change using their platforms, whatever that may be. I can't dance, I'm tone deaf. The one thing that I do have is I'm smart. I'm very smart. When you're younger, tend to make fun of you if you don't fit in. But those are those qualities that make you stand out later in life. So cherish those. What success looks like to you right now may not be what success looks like to you 2, 5, 10 years from now. And then you have to ask yourself and be honest with yourself, are you really willing to change to get to that level of success? If I'm your hero, you are the architect of your own destiny.
I am Vero Boquete, number 21. I was 3 when I started playing, 5 when I joined in the boys' team, but it wasn't until I was 15 that I played against other girls. It was my parents' support that helped me start, but I kept going because I love it. I have lived everywhere. I followed the ball and life followed me. That's what happens when you are on the right path. My biggest honor was having a stadium named after me, Stadium Vero Boquete de San Lázaro. In 2013, I started the petition that got female players added to the FIFA video game. I was born to have this life, born to play. I will not stop until my body says it's over. If I'm your hero, it's because you know you have one life and you want to make it count.
I'm Talitha Phillips. When I was 8, I dreamt of having a house on the beach for pregnant girls. There was something inside me where I didn't want people to feel alone. I was a third culture kid, not feeling like I belonged anywhere. And when I got pregnant at 19, I didn't want to feel alone anymore. So I found a place where I didn't. A couple years later, I found myself holding the keys to this place, literally and figuratively. And I have spent the last 19 years thinking about what women really need. They need to talk, not just be a number. They need understanding, not judgment. And they need the 200 partners that we have to help them live life. We've helped over 20,000 women not feel alone. By 2030, I hope there are hundreds of Clarices around the world. Because everywhere, there is a woman who feels alone. And if I'm your hero, it's because you also want to make sure no one feels like that.
I am Susan Rockefeller. I grew up in the sea, salt, and water. I was a mermaid by nature. I remember horseshoe crabs fishing for shrimp in what was an abundant ocean. But now we need a different sense of connectivity to nature. So these are the stories I like to tell, one frame at a time. In truth, I don't mind the pause of the pandemic. Look at how nature has thrived. Nature didn't care about COVID. Nature got a break. So do whatever you want to do in this world, but do less harm. I create films about this. I write about it. I stand up for it. All that nature gives and all that we mistakenly take away. If I am your hero, it is because you want the earth to heal, oceans to rest, and land to thrive, and use your creativity to help us get there.
I am Valentina Sampaio. Brooke Shields in Bulagon was my first icon, but my mom is my hero. It is from her that I inherited my determination. I was 21 when I was the first transgender model to appear on Vogue Paris, Vogue Germany, and Vogue Brazil. In 2020, I am featured in Sports Illustrated as the first transgender model. My agent says I am one of a kind. But I believe everyone is one of a kind, that everyone has to respect themselves, fight for themselves, and always be true to themselves. Doors are opening for me now, but I also want to open doors for others, people who just want to be themselves. If I am your hero, it's because you are learning to love yourself for exactly who you are.
I am Leila Cobot. I am from Cali, Colombia. When I was 8, I read voraciously, loved to write, wanted to be a Broadway actress or a classical pianist. So music and journalism became my life.
I have spent years decoding Latino music to the world. It is my mission. I nurture it, I promote it. I help everyone understand the power of it.
How Afro-Latino artists transcend racism, how Latin music travels the world. It teaches you to move, it gives you life. And if you are trying to be an artist, do not take shortcuts, because all music needs to be distinct, authentic, and good.
What makes you different will make you brilliant. So be inspired by where you're from.
Be a warrior butterfly. And if I am your hero, it is because you ask yourself, how many lives can I live? And you will try to live them all.
I'm Shelley Archambault, and I'm from the U.S. I was the only black girl in my neighborhood. I was bullied and beaten. I learned that the odds were not in my favor, and that if I wanted something, I had to make it happen. So I became intentional. When I was 16, I decided to become a CEO. I didn't hope, I decided, because hope is not a strategy. I had a goal, a plan, and a timeline. And when I was 40, I became CEO. I am one of Silicon Valley's first female African-American CEOs. a Fortune 500 board member, and an author.
My superpowers are courage and discipline. I wasn't born with them. I built them by practicing.
If I am your hero, make it because you too are unapologetically ambitious.
I am Sapna Chadha. When I was 2, my mom took care of me during the day and studied programming all night. My Indian father wanted me to be a doctor or lawyer. However, I had to follow my own dream. My name means dream. Careers are like jungle gyms. You can spend a lot of time playing around, so I did. After I had my twins, I turned down a role at Google. Luckily, they came back to me a year later. I said yes. You can have it all. I am known as one-on-one Sapna. I like to understand and help others, which is why I've worked to build Internet Saathi, a program enabling internet equality for all women across India. Women who don't have access, women who are forbidden to have access. We have helped in over 300,000 villages. I am seeing my dream come true. And if I am your hero, it is because you won't let anyone change yours.
I am Janet Yang. Throughout my childhood, I was the only Asian in my school. I knew 2 things. I just wanted to fit in and to never work a 9-to-5 job. I was 16 when my mother took me to China for the first time. I studied it. Then I lived in China and I loved it. I also fell in love with films. I wanted to bring the East to the West and the West to the East. I found a way by building a bridge through cinema. Then I got a piece of advice. Find projects you love, don't worry about the rest. So I did. I read 3 chapters of the Joy Luck Club. We eventually made it into a movie. It was for Chinese mothers. It was for Chinese daughters. But it was also for everyone. And I realized that who I had become was based on all that I was. If I am your hero, it is because you want to tell stories so the world can realize that we are not separate. We are one.
I am Linda Rowe Thomas. I was 2 years old when I survived a house fire. I was left with 3rd-degree burns. Most of my body was saved because of a little fur coat that I was wearing. It took 2 years of operations just to be able to smile, so I do that every single day. At 5 years old, I figured out how to sew and design. And to this day, I live by my mom's "can't is not an option" mantra. And so one day, my doll dresses became life-size. In 2010, I decided to accept and own the label Burn Survivor so that I can help others know not all scars are visible. I live to have the light my mom had. Imagine a dark stadium, and there's one candle. Everyone borrows the light from that one candle, and soon the whole stadium is lit up. That's what I would like to be, a light shared. If I am your hero, it is because you also want to be a flame that heals.
I am Miri Rodriguez. I grew up in the slums of Venezuela. What little we had, we gave to others. We moved to Miami when I was 12. I did not speak English. I was judged, bullied, misunderstood. I've always been torn between where I came from and who I wanted to be. I spent many years trying to discover that. And when I was 35, life made me figure it out.
I do believe you can change your path.
I built my own personal brand, I owned and shaped my story, and now I teach others how to shape theirs. I am one of the 2% of women in tech, and one of thousands who are discriminated against.
We are the Rosa Parks of the digital age. We're pioneers. We may suffer pain, but we stand up and say no.
If I am your hero, it is because you are ready to stand up too. Because if I can change my life, so can you.
Why data and AI being a technology where we are teaching machines to be able to mimic the way humans think, right? A lot of our work that we do is centered around bringing the data together, making it useful, insightful, making it relevant for the work that we do with our clients.
If we want to understand people in this new society, how are we going to do that? What we are left with is a huge amount of data. that we need to touch and understand and analyze.
We have the honor of being the first company in the world that brought in gender parity and equal pay based on the work we do and not based on what gender we were part of.
When I first entered this team, I was the only woman. I had a very fair environment for me to grow, to learn, to compete.
It becomes even more critical to have women in different diverse positions, manufacturing, engineering, development, making decisions.
Women who wanted to enter the field, they should also be confident in themselves.
Face challenges and continue to stay curious and ask questions as you are growing in your career and acquiring new skills, whatever they are.
If you want to play with data science, see if that really fits your interest, just try it.
Don't let anybody else tell you where your place is. Find your place, demand your place.
No one, nothing should stop you from doing that, not yourself.
Being a lifelong learner is the most critical skill that's becoming even more relevant, and what you are learning will automatically follow the path to success.
I'm Marley Dias. When I was 2, my parents would get me 2 books. When I was 7, I would get 7, but I couldn't get my hands on enough books. And when I was 10, I came home from school and asked my mom why I had to read yet another story about a white boy and his dog. She said, come up with a solution. So I came up with the idea, #1000 Black Girl Books. The goal was to collect 1,000. In the end, we got over 12,000. I now realize how we can all create change. Change something you know isn't right. Don't accept it just because it's the norm. Change can happen so quickly now. Thanks to social media, what used to take 40 years can now take 5. Educate yourself. Find your passion. Create your own spin. Be your own self-motivator. I will never get tired of helping change happen, and neither should you. If I'm your hero, it's because you will also make the change you want to see in the world.
I am Precious Lee. I was an advocate when I was 6, before I even knew what it meant, because I have always stepped up for others. It was in the 8th grade I realized I wanted to be a lawyer, but quite accidentally became a model, and discovered how expanding the perception of what a model looks like allows me to also be an advocate and be unapologetically me. It has not been easy. There was no one else who looked like me, no one's path to follow. I now have a responsibility to share who I am and open doors for others.
So now I get to do all the advocacy that I've ever wanted by simply being who I am, Precious.
But it starts with a dream, your dream. If I am your hero, it is because one day you want to be rewarded for pursuing your dreams.
I am Ann Mukherjee. I was 4 years old when I was assaulted, 13 when I was molested, and 14 when my mother was killed by a drunk driver. But I learned at a young age, you cannot let these things define you. So I became a bit of a rebel. I worked hard at my studies. I channeled my energies into things I was good at, and I decided I was going to be my own captain. Every time I began a new job, I would ask myself, what impact will I make? I looked for little opportunities to make a difference and mastered the art of possibility. I also understood the threats that made me feel insecure. Then I released myself from them, and I chose to work for companies whose value match mine. If I am your hero, it is because you too want to be your own captain and make the impossible possible.
I am Stephanie Hill. As a young girl, I didn't know any engineers, but I knew I loved math. Wanting to make a difference is in my DNA, a gift I inherited from my mom, dad, and grandmothers. I started out wanting to be an accountant, then fell in love with computer science. I now work at a company where we help people be superheroes. Our innovations protect and save lives, from the depths of the ocean to Mars and beyond. A laser that protects ships at sea. A fighter pilot helmet with 360-degree vision that lets you see through a jet. an exoskeleton that gives soldiers and first responders superhuman strength. Our tech is eye-watering. The impact is amazing. I couldn't do that if I were an accountant. Be a brilliant mind that makes a difference. And if I am your hero, it's because you believe that setting out to make a difference in the world never gets old.
I'm Cherie Blair. When I was a little girl, my father abandoned us, and I saw what my mother had to go through, the struggles, the lack of choice. So I owed it to her to make sure I would never end up in the same position. I knew my education was everything, so I excelled because I had to. When I became a lawyer, I saw other women put on mute. I was determined not to let that happen to me. I was very lucky to travel the world, yet I saw this happening to women everywhere. Now my foundation works tirelessly to make sure that other women are not held back either. We train, mentor, and connect women. We give them practical support. My experiences as a girl shaped my lifelong purpose. Not only could I be the boss, I could help other women be the boss too. If I am your hero, it's because you see that if I can do it, so can you.
I'm Jennifer James, 4th generation farmer. Till the age of 10, my backyard was a farm. I used to pester my father to go on his tractor. I was smart in school, so much so I planned to study law. But when I was 19, I walked across campus and realized where home was. Home was the farm. Figuring out the future of farming. You see, you don't have to drive a tractor to be a farmer. Farmer isn't just about farming, it's about sustainability, conservation, and teaching that how we take care of our land matters. So I took care of our land in new ways and was the first ever field-to-market Farmer of the Year. I used my smarts, I found my voice, and it turns out what's best for consumers is best for farmers. And if I'm your hero, it's because you're not afraid to go afield, where no woman has gone before.
I'm Vidya Balan. When I was 8, I would dance all day long. I was meant to be an actor, but I was not meant to be the stereotypical Bollywood one. So I had to create my own path. I had to become deaf to the voices of others. And as I let the noise subside, I discovered who I was. After winning many awards and very successful films, I now know who I am and the parts I should play.
I realize now that when you embrace you, the world does so too.
Sounds so simple, but it can take a long time to get there.
You have to break rules. Do what is true to you and ignore all else. You must stand by you.
We must always treat ourselves like the goddess we are, and together create the rise of the divine feminine. If I am your hero, it is because you believe there are no rules, and you will make your own.
I'm Libby Lyons. When I was about 4, my mum, my hero, told me to take every opportunity. So I became a teacher when I was 23. I learnt IT when I was 24. My first husband died when I was 49. We had 11 weeks to say goodbye. I felt like I had died for 3 years. I took pills every day for depression and 4 years to get back to me. I knew that I was about the equality of others. So I became director of the Workplace Gender Equality Agency. We can do so much more when women can worry less about childcare. Help me change the gender of natural worriers to be the gender of natural warriors. If I am your hero, then you 100% believe in equality for all.
I am Amina Guri Fakim. I came from a village with nothing, but my education was everything. And from the age of 11, the Irish nuns in my Mauritian convent school helped me see science in a real way. I was inspired by the moon landing, the first test tube baby, and how humble plants hide surprising secrets. So I had to become a scientist. I could see that healing can be nature-made and not just man-made. And that in Africa, there is a $1 trillion opportunity using our own unique biodiversity through agriculture. I became an accidental president in 2015, but used all that I knew to inform and to lead. I believe excellence knows no gender. I believe that young people need to be job creators and not just job seekers. If I'm your hero, it is because you want to enjoy what you do and not just have a job.
I am Fozia Wia. When I was 4, I was piano obsessed. And when my parents bought our house, they had one rule. It had to have a piano. So I played and studied and learned the guitar, the violin, and when I was 6, I wrote songs. Music is just in me. It's a necessity, not a hobby. Many people sing, but it is my Arabic background that makes me, me. And I'm learning not to hide it, like I did when I was little. But being an adult can be just as hard.
People are going to doubt you and tell you that you can't. But we must ignore those people.
Let the negativity push you. My song, This Mountain, is about exactly that. It's about falling down, getting back up. I tell myself that every day. And if I'm your hero, it is because you know you will climb every mountain in your way.
My name is LaDavia Drain. My heroes are the women in my family. My grandmother, my mother, my aunts. They weaved a net so tight from the day I was born to ensure that I didn't fall through. And for that, I'll be forever indebted to these women. My professional hero, Congresswoman Marsha Fudge, from the moment I started working for her, even to this day, she is the person that is, I would say, single-handedly opened doors for me throughout my career. Increasing women's representation in positions of power and commitments for accelerating gender equality and equity is really what's necessary. Equality allows us all to play on the same field, but equity goes further. We're all playing using the same set of rules, and these are rules that don't just change in the middle of the game. African American women now aren't necessarily represented in substantial numbers in cloud computing companies like AWS. So what is it that I need to do now as the person that looks after inclusion, diversity, and equity to make sure that African American women in the next 5 to 10 years can find themselves here? What we're looking at is, where does that start? I believe that it starts in the 9th grade in high school, right? If I'm working backwards from 2025. Partnerships with our school systems, creating pipeline programs that will prepare those girls now. I'm working in my sphere of influence to ensure the technology industry, not just the place that I am currently employed, but the entire technology industry will have achieved pay equity for women by 2030. And I believe we can get there.
Hi, I'm Aarti.
I'm Aiwei.
I'm Simone. I'm Sarah.
I'm Ale. This is a call to girls like me.
Like me.
Like me. Like you.
I'm Black.
Chinese. Maltese. American. Mexican.
Italian.
I'm Iranian.
I'm Hispanic, Black, White, and Jewish.
When I was 12 years old, my father went to work and never came back.
I was a timid child.
As a teenager, I was kicked out for being gay. I struggled with depression.
I struggled with dyslexia.
I grew up in a family of strong women.
I have a black belt in karate.
I was raised to let other people decide my value. Not anymore.
I am a first-generation college student.
I graduated university at the same time I had my first child.
I'm a new working mom in the midst of a pandemic.
I'm doing what I studied.
I'm doing what I care about.
I'm doing what I'm good at.
I'm doing what I love.
Surrounded by people who respect me.
For what I bring.
For what I add.
For who I am.
I'm a managing director,
copywriter,
creative director,
marketing and events manager,
design director, account executive,
sports marketing director,
chief digital officer,
managing partner,
CEO.
CEO.
Brand strategist.
I'm an account director, which means the buck stops with me.
We are 106,000 people
in 112 countries,
working to create the future of marketing today.
In collaboration with our clients.
In collaboration with each other.
Inside agencies known as
Winderman Thompson,
Ogilvy,
Gray,
BML YNR,
Mindshare,
GTB,
Wavemaker,
Geometry,
Essence,
BCW,
MediaCom,
and more.
Our creativity, powered by technology,
drives business growth for our clients.
Creating a platform allowing Nike shoes to be purchased direct from graffiti murals. That's us.
Working with Walgreens in the midst of the pandemic to help families celebrate graduation without the ceremony. That's us.
Helping Cadbury's Unity Bar sell out in less than 3 hours. That's us.
The most talked about TV spot in Burger King's history. That's us.
1 out of every 3 ads you see, there's a good chance that's us. We are WPP.
I am Dr. Laura Stachel. At 18, I needed surgery on my ovaries.
I asked my doctor so many questions that he told me to become a doctor. So I did. One that specializes in women's health.
After years delivering babies, I traveled to Africa to research why hundreds of mothers die each day in childbirth around the world. I was shocked to learn that hospitals might not have any electricity.
I told my husband, and he designed this, a solar suitcase for healthcare.
Health facilities around the world asked for these, and we grew from a few volunteers to an international nonprofit, so mothers can give birth by light, not in the dark.
We have served 6.4 million mothers and newborns, saving many lives in childbirth.
If I am your hero, it is because sometimes a very small idea can have very big impact.
I am Ebele Okobi. I come from a long line of misbehaving Nigerian women. By 2 years old, I was a voracious reader. At 10, I led a one-girl class walkout to protest a misogynistic lesson. So I have always been clear about what I believe.
I'm a Black woman and a lawyer, so I'm fascinated by the systems we create and the power they uphold.
When my brother, Chinedu Valentine Okobi, was murdered by police in 2018, it was clear which systems need to be dismantled.
Rage is a reminder of the truth of the world. Leaning into rage is an opportunity to develop empathy and courage. Rage is fuel. Use your rage to be the light.
If I am your hero, it is because you too want to speak truth to power, to bend the arc of the moral universe towards justice.
I am Timea Nagy. I grew up in Hungary. I was poor, abused, and I was constantly ill. When I was 21, an ad for a well-paid babysitting job and a flight to Toronto changed everything. Today, I am a part of an invisible group. I am a victim of human trafficking. After 3.5 months, held against my will, tortured, raped, and forced into prostitution, I risked my life and I escaped and started my second life as an activist and an influencer.
I work with lawmakers and law enforcement, and I help victims of human trafficking to rebuild their lives.
Years after being trafficked, I finally have the self-belief to take on the systems that perpetrate trafficking. Changing laws is not enough. If I am your hero, make it because you have a need to fix the world, just like I do. There's always more to do.
I'm Mary O'Brien, General Manager for IBM Security. Since I was 6, I was interested in learning. Math, sport, piano, golf, it didn't matter. I was also highly organised and very meticulous. I wanted everything to be in perfect order. Cybersecurity didn't exist when I was in school, so I took engineering, which paved the way to what I do now. I help protect people, my parents, anyone's children, reducing the opportunity for cyber criminals to attack. What makes me good at what I do is knowing which bits I am good at, allowing others to be good at the bits that they're good at. Get the right people around you, a diversity of people around you, the right combination of colour, race, creed and thought. Because it's the understanding of others that creates the best ideas. If I am your hero, it's because you want to work with others to make the world a safer place.
I am Camila Coelho. When I was 6 years old, I wore a red lipstick for my passport photo. Lipstick given to me by my grandmother, my light, my hero. At 9, I discovered I had epilepsy and couldn't always do what my friends did. So when I was 17, I stopped taking my medication and paid the price. I woke up in a hospital with my mom by my side, but realized I was one lucky girl. After that dark time, I felt the real Camila coming back. The one that believes in dreams, the one whose light shines through. So bit by bit, I created my YouTube videos. It may seem overnight, but it wasn't. And my hobby became my life. And now my life is creating my brand, my beauty, the way I see life. And through all of my tough moments came light. Give yours to the world, just like my grandmother gave hers. If I'm your hero, it's because you want to find your light and let it shine.
I'm Jo Frost. When I was a girl, I had no idea what career I would pursue, but I was often told I had an old soul and I loved babies and children. Being a parenting expert is my calling. I love my work. I believe that true character comes from supportive influences at home. It all starts at home. Children teach us valuable lessons. We just assume it's the other way around. My 33 years of experience has taught me to believe in children. Let them be our spiritual teachers. By 2030, my pledge is equality for every child, no matter where they come from or how they start life. I may be your super nanny, but I hope for a super world where children can thrive. If I'm your hero, it is because you believe in helping children receive the best start in life too.
I am Archie Deskis. My family came to the United States from India when I was 5 years old. We had nothing but the clothes on our backs. I didn't even speak English.
The next 4 years were the toughest years of my life, but they taught me how to adapt to change.
My mom and dad are my heroes. They insisted that I had the best education. Though my father wanted me to be a doctor, technology was what I loved. It is hard to go against your parents, but you have to find your passion. And do not think technology is about being good at math equations. It's not.
Girls need to stop saying, I'm not good enough. Understand technology, and you understand the world.
Technology is about convincing people to change. And that was something I knew how to do. If I am your hero, it is because you will make a change in the world despite your circumstances.
I'm Monica Singh. I'm 34 years old. I come from India. I graduated from the Parsons School of Fashion in 2016. I advised my family on what to wear. In 2005, a bucket full of sulfuric acid changed my life. There were 5 men, one who I had rejected. It took me 35 minutes to get to the hospital. I had burns on 65% of my body and now scars on 95% of it. I had to relearn how to walk, to eat, to speak. And then on June 14, 2005, I was reborn. A chance to never take things for granted.
I want every girl to take their power back.
I don't want to be a poster child for survivors. But I'm okay being a poster child for making most of your life. If I'm your hero, make it because you want to make the most of yours. Namaste.
I am Fatima Kari Mohammed. I was very creative when I was young and more inclined towards the arts, but my father wanted me to become a doctor. I was able to negotiate my path and was able to break cultural barriers. As long as I got my education, this was the most important. Education is power that no one can take away from you. Since then, I've been in the trenches with the most vulnerable and up high with global leaders. Here's what I've learned. Women and people of color need to work twice as hard. Be at the top of your game. What you say is important, but your actions are stronger. And even well-intentioned policies don't always know what's best for people. People do. If you truly want to make a change, listen to what people need and then assist. The more we can make policies real, the better the world is for it. But if I'm your hero, it's because you also believe out of all the actions you can take, kindness is actually the most important. Be kind in strength.
I'm Seema Kumar. When I was 6, I wanted to know why fireworks would light up first, but the sound would come a few seconds later. My dad explained that light travels faster than sound. He wanted me to be a scientist like he was. My mother taught me to feel for others.
So I'm a science lover because of my father. I'm a storyteller because of my mother. Being able to tell a story is really important to what I do.
Whether it be for HIV, the Human Genome Project, or a COVID vaccine, or highlighting J&J as a global health authority, telling stories that inspire is also why I founded the Seema Network, to empower South Asian women globally.
To be a feminist, to be a scientist, to be a writer, to be whoever you want to be, but to be someone who sees something that others don't see yet.
If I'm your hero, it's because you will be a woman who does whatever it is you imagine.
I'm just a girl, you may think I'm at a disadvantage. Going out into the world, but I think I'm gonna take my chances. Cause no one ever change a thing by being too afraid of a dream. So if I'm ever feeling down, I know that it's part of the journey. I look up to the stars in the sky. I look up and I feel so inspired to push every limit like all of the women before me. I look up in the face of my fears, won't give up till they know I was here. Won't stand in the shadows, cause she fought the battle before me. She's looking up to and she's looking up to Use the magic of your voice and tell them what you stand for. Cause we don't change the world when we whisper, we change it when we roar. If you take the time to see that all you've gotta do is believe. There are highs and there are lows, but the power's in finding the beauty. Oh yeah. I look up to the stars in the sky. I look up and I feel so inspired to push every limit like all of the women before me. Oh, I look up in the face of my fears, won't give up till they know I was here. Won't stand in the shadows, cause she fought the battles before me. And she's looking up.